Hi, how are you doing? This is Pastor Cheryl. We'll try a different angle with the camera today. Um, Today I wanted to go through the parable of the lost son. I imagine there's a lot of parents out there that can sympathize with this. It's Luke 15, starting with verse 11. I got a new Bible. It's giant print. You see that? It's considered giant. To me, it's not that giant. I still have problems with it. This happens when you get older. Jesus continued, there is a man who had two sons. The younger one said to the father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got all he had set off for a distant country where he squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to the fields to feed the pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. I looked it up. Pods is like from the carob plant, carob pods. They have those out there. When he came to his senses, I guess that means when he sobered up, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. He had a plan. Remember, the hired servants got fed better than what he was living, how he was living. But he was still a long ways off. His father saw him and was filled with compassion for him, ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Quick, bring the best robe, put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and his sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For his son, the son of mine, was dead. Now he's alive again. He was lost and is now found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the oldest son in the field, when he came near the house, he heard the music and the dancing. So he called one of his servants and asked him, What's going on? Your brother has come home, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. You never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and he is found. I kind of wonder how many people out there have teenagers, prodigal sons, daughters. Some young people like to take off to go to like California. They got to see it, right? I knew someone like that. California sent him back. They don't want any more homeless people out there. I'm serious. They actually sent him back. Um, and uh, and so maybe you're the prodigal son who's watching, or the prodigal daughter, and you've been the one that's screwed up. And God's waiting for you to respond to Him. And we do have the rapture coming up as the next event on the church calendar. And we're watching for it because this is going to be interesting. We're wondering how God's going to do it. God and His angels. Everyone has a rapture dream. It's all different. All of them. They're all different. And so we're wondering, is it going to have spaceships come out of the sky, or we're just going to be wharfed into the next dimension. One fellow said that an unseen force, an angel picked him up, couldn't see him, and flew him home. And went out to the barrier. They said there's a barrier, broke through that like bang, and went through another barrier like bang, and saw this gigantic, beautiful planet, and went down there, and he said it was gorgeous. Met everybody. So, if you continue, 50% of the people in the United States are non-Christians. They are non-church members. You might have been someone who attended a church when you were a little kid, said grandma forced you to go to church with them. She would pick you up, take you to church, you'd go through Sunday school, you come home. But as an adult, you don't do that anymore. That's kind of too bad. You lost touch with your heritage and who you are, because you stopped attending this church that you were raised in and you knew everybody, and you lost touch with all those friends of yours. And so it's just kind of a sad thing, but go ahead and talk to God, apologize for whatever bad thing you've been doing. And some people, live pretty righteous lives. They just don't attend church. They just don't really what would call sin. They're rather nice people. But that doesn't get you to heaven. We're going to have the tribulation. There'll be a war. It'll be a nuclear war. We as Americans don't believe in nuclear warfare. We don't believe in nuclear weapons. They build them anyway. Our government builds them anyway, even though we told them not to. And with war, there's always a famine. There is. And we won't really have anyone to back us up. Canada depends on us to back them up if anything bad happens to them. But if anything happens bad to us, Canada can't do too much because they don't have much of a population. Mexico, the same kind of boat. They depend on us. We really don't need to annex them. We kind of insulted them. Trump insulted them by wanting to annex them with the United States. And they have this national pride all of their own. It's best just to compliment them on, who they are and what they do best. And that way you have some footing with them for trade and getting along and whatever. If anything happens to here, I'm heading on up north. Really, everybody has said that for years. Anything happens here in the United States, we can always go to Canada. But if they annex with us, then we can't. But anyway, getting back to the prodigal son. If you're a prodigal son or daughter, pick up the phone, call mom and dad. If you can't, just talk to them. They can hear you, and talk to God. He can hear you. And even though you say, oh, you don't believe in anything. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I know you believe. This gut element in you always believes. Because you were raised with the rest of us. You know, you're not in the dark. And so we will keep you in prayer. And we'll keep you in prayer. And I've reached my 10-minute limit. This is the limit this phone has. 10, 11 minutes as it turns itself off. And we'll see you maybe tomorrow or the next day. Bye-bye.